Good afternoon and welcome. Welcome indeed to another edition of the Mark Moses Show podcast here on a Wednesday. And today I'll be joined by a great friend of mine on the Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Yes, take back control of your life. Call them today, 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733. It's my great friend, Chris Bonanno. And I got to make sure I do this right with the Viera Voice, Senior Life, Everything Brevard, and also the baseball coach there at Cocoa High School. My man, how you doing today?
I'm hanging in there. A little worried about my Knicks, but excited to watch that. I wish they wouldn't have the game at the same time as the NFL draft tomorrow. I'm like, ugh, but excited for what's going to be a good sports night tomorrow night.
Yeah, that happened last year where opening round of the draft, I think the Magic were playing Cleveland like a game three.
The Knicks were on during that game, during their draft as well. It's really annoying. To have to flip back and forth.
Okay, well, first off, it's good to see you, buddy. It really is. Yeah, so before we get to the NBA, let's go over this real quick. So you coach high school baseball. Your season came to an end. Mm-hmm. And we talked about, Cocoa all season. My question for you is, did Satellite High School here in Brevard County, did they drive, 7 hours to go to Key West, Florida to play baseball?
Probably longer than that, especially in a bus.
Okay, how does this happen for matchups where you go that far to play another high school team?
So I looked at Key West's schedule, right? And it seems like everybody they play, they generally, most teams you play one and you go home, right? So it seems like most teams that they played like in sets of two. Like if you come down to Key West, you better get 2 games out of it, right?
Yeah.
That's like so that's what it seems like they were doing. Someone was going to get the raw deal, but why is there a district or region that goes from Key West all the way up to Brevard County? The kicker is Satellite is the higher seed there, and their reward as a 4 seed is, hey, I can't even begin, like my mind hurts thinking about what this does to a budget. Hey, on short notice, you have no time to fundraise for this. You're going down. You're going to have to find a hotel in Key West. You're going to have to stay overnight, and you're going to have to find a bus to take you 8-9 hours down and stay down there. And I just, it blows up a budget. And if they should win today, their reward is they're going to get to go back down to a very short trip to Plantation American Heritage, which is, about a 3-hour ride. Rockledge just did that. And so the budgetary costs are going to be out of this world, I would think. And you've got no time to fundraise for it.
No, you have no idea. Yeah, they're going to play later today at Satellite High School for a decisive game 3. I know, Satellite won the opener, and then Key West won the second game. Forget baseball. It just opens my eyes of, so there are people that grow up living in Key West, and they have families, and those kids go to grade school, junior high, and high school in Key West. I don't think of these things. How about you, Chris?
So I was offered 3-4 years ago. I was offered a job in Key West, actually.
Oh.
So I did a little bit of research, more than a little bit of research. I was to the point where I was going to go down. It's pretty much as expensive as you think to live there.
Yes, it is.
For the most part, and that's part of why I am not in Key West. Seems like a really nice place to. It's probably the understatement of it. It seems like a really nice place to live.
Yeah.
Right. The only thing you have to probably worry about, obviously, I wouldn't want to be there in a hurricane. And you've got a long trek back to get to the mainland. So if you better like Key West if you're there, because there's nothing else really around. But yes, they do. And I'm told, I don't even know who I heard this from, but I'm told that they've been good at baseball for a while. I'm told like baseball games are like an event there, where like a lot of people, you would think that like they're, just too busy fishing or going to the beach or whatever, but apparently it's a real big community. I'd be interested to talk to Satellite to see what their experience is. I think I talked with Rockledge, because Rockledge has played down there before. And I'm told that I think it's Tom Mandillo, the pitching coach I talked with about this. But I'm told that they get great crowds. So must have been a great atmosphere, and hopefully it's a great atmosphere today at Satellite. Although, as you referenced, I think the time may be a little unusual.
Yeah, what if some team from Tallahassee? Oh, you got to play Key West. What? You have to
It
take
might
an air.
happen.
Yeah, I mean, dude, that is crazy. So yes,
Although actually that can't happen.
why?
That can't happen. Well, it can happen, but it would happen in Fort Myers because it's not in football. They keep playing until the championship's in a neutral site. Here, they keep playing until the Final Four. So the regional winners all meet in Fort Myers. Now, that's still a drive for said Tallahassee team to get to Fort Myers, but they wouldn't have to play Key West. So
okay, as the baseball coach at Cocoa High School, what was the furthest you went this year to play a game? I'm putting you on the spot when I asked this question. It wasn't Key West. I know that's the answer. No way.
Evans High School in Orlando, a little over an hour.
All right.
We came up just short of the Key West trip.
So could you imagine? This is for those parents, and God bless them. Can you imagine your son comes home, Dad, we're going to Key West to play 2 games. What? And like during the week as well, not the weekend. That'd make more sense for people. No, Monday, Tuesday. That's how we're going to play this. Let's go.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that the coaches, TJ Gowdy, who's done a tremendous job there at Satellite. I'm pretty sure that he knew Key West was in the mix, but you never really know until the final Max Preps ranking as to where you go. But think about it. They got the word Friday afternoon, and they went down and played just a few days later. Like the organization and I don't know where you get funds for that.
I don't know either.
I mean, they must fundraise. Like you have to fundraise for a rainy day. Like, oh, those uniforms you were going to get for next year. Like, oh, too bad. We're going to the Keys for a couple days. Like,
yeah,
it's incredible to me.
It's a great point. We're here with Chris Bonanno. It's mind-boggling. I think of like Billy Mims when he was the coach at Florida Tech, where Florida Tech Division II, oh, we got to go to Miami-Dade, right? We're going to go play them. Or, we're playing St. Leo. You're going to South Florida. All right, then you got to take the bus back. This beats any story. There was a game, I'm trying to think, isn't West Florida a school?
In Pensacola.
Yeah, in Pensacola. And I know, like, when Florida Tech football, they had to bus all the way up there, got the win, and then had to come all the way back. It was not easy.
No. That was they played some good football games between each other, the two schools anyway. But yeah, Florida Tech had when the football program was in existence, they had to bus quite a number of different places. Yeah, I mean we could go off on that tangent about how much I miss that program, but that's neither here nor there.
I know you do. We're here with Chris Bonanno. That's high school baseball. And look, for everyone watching, listening right now, good luck to the Scorps today. I hope they get the win. That's right. That's going to be a lot of fun. Let's go to the NFL then real quick. Your Giants are on the clock at number 3. And don't forget, my NFL draft watch party's coming up Thursday night at Walk On Sports Bistreaux. Chris, you can win an NFL draft coin from the Highland Mint. If you show up, you could win. And also I have tickets to Welcome to Rockville coming up in Daytona next month. 4-day passes. Oh, Chris could win. Your Giants are at number 3. What's your gut telling you 24 hours out, buddy?
They have to read the room and know that they cannot take a quarterback at 3. They cannot. My gut tells me they actually like Jackson Dart more than Shedeur Sanders. You cannot consider taking either one of them at 3. The fan base would just revolt isn't the right word. So you can't do that. Look, I'm a big Miami Hurricanes fan. It's going to pain me for the next 15 years that all they had to do was lose to the Colts and Cam Ward would be the quarterback of my team. And instead, no, we get, the veterans and maybe not going to get their franchise guy in this because I don't think that there is a surefire one after Ward. And obviously Ward's not even surefire, but I think he's pretty good. There's the 2 best players in this draft are considered to be Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter. One of them, very likely Carter, is going to be there at 3. You take Abdul Carter. Now, does that mean you have to trade Kayvon Thibodeau? Maybe. But if you pair Carter with Brian Burns and Dexter Lawrence up front, hey, you've got a real good pass rush now. You have an identity, which is something the Giants haven't had for a while, arguably, in a decade, since they had, guys like O.C. Umenyiora and Justin Tuck, when they were, good there right after the Super Bowl. So I think reestablishing that, when the Giants have been good traditionally, it's been because of their pass rush. So I'm for Abdul Carter. If you get Micah Parsons at 3, and there's plenty of Micah Parsons comparisons to be had, that's cool. So I want Abdul Carter. If they absolutely are married to a quarterback, you have to trade down. Have to. Especially where you are with the 2 blue chip prospects, you can get quite a haul. If you think it's too much clutter with Thibodeau and Burns, I don't. Thibodeau hasn't quite lived up to the draft billing. I think that's the way you got to go. But I think just worry about the quarterback. You got pick 34. You can trade back up. You can stay there. You can take someone like Jalen Miller. I think that the play is just take Abdul Carter and profit.
Okay. We are now on record, 24 hours out here with Chris Bonanno, super mega Giants fan. He is okay at number 3, Abdul Carter out of Penn State. And then you are taking Jackson Dart, the quarterback out of Ole Miss, with your second-round pick.
I don't think Dart's going to be there at 34. There's too many quarterback-needy teams. I think the Saints might do Sanders. You could see it's the Steelers at 21. You got to think that there's a decent chance they're going to take a quarterback. So I think if you're going to get Sanders or Dart, I don't think either one's going to be there at 34. I could be wrong, but I don't believe that they'll be there.
Are you in love with Dart so much you would trade back into the first round if you had to? I would not. No way. I'm not giving up more capital for him.
Well, the thing is, the Giants have a lot of holes. It's not like they're one player away. So, no, to be perfectly honest with you, I'm in favor of sticking where they are and taking the best player available. You need help. You perpetually need help on the offensive line. You need another defensive tackle as well. It's a really deep defensive tackle group. You could get a really solid one at 34. Could use another corner. You just need a talent infusion. And I don't think you have, with Winston and Wilson on board, I don't think you got all the capital and just to get somebody who's almost certainly going to sit for most, if not all, the year. Not that they're, contending or anything like that, but Daboll and Shane need to show something this year to keep their jobs, and maybe even a little bit more than something. And it is what against a nightmare schedule for them.
We're with Chris Bonanno. Does a great job. Viera Voice. Got to make sure I have this right. Senior Living and Senior Life. Okay, I apologize. And everything Brevard. He does it all. He really does. I forget about Jameis Winston. Is he going to start game 1 for the Giants? Is that going to happen?
Russell Wilson's going to start game 1 for the Giants.
Hey, is Russell Wilson on the team right now?
They signed him.
They did sign. That's right. Okay. All right. I have to make sure I'm up to date.
That's why if you're burning, can you imagine effectively for this season? If one of those 3, either let's say you take a quarterback 3, one of your number 3 overall pick, Jameis Winston or Russell Wilson is going to be your 3rd string. That's not going to work.
No, it's
so
not.
When they signed both of them, I think I am on board with taking, and I be perfectly honest with you, Mark, I don't like taking quarterbacks after round 1. It almost never works. Russell Wilson's a notable exception. Tom Brady, obviously a notable exception. More often than not, it doesn't work. So, but I'm okay with taking a developmental guy. The Giants have done it a few times in the last decade. It hasn't worked. But I'm okay doing it to give you some sort of hope there, long-term development at the position. But taking one at 3, revolt, like I said, is not a strong enough word for what would happen.
Okay. All right. I have a follow-up then. All right. I'm going to make sure I do this right. Chris Bonanno, he is with the Viera Voice, Senior Life, and Everything Brevard, and also the head baseball coach at Coco. Did I get it right now?
We got it.
We're good. We got this. When did they sign Russell Wilson? Was this like opening day of baseball? Was I not paying attention? When did this happen?
It wasn't right as free agency opened. Like they actually signed Jameis first, which is the weird thing. People were like, "Oh, Jameis is the quarterback." And then, but this was still at the time they were flirting with Aaron Rodgers.
Mm.
And then they just kind of got tired of waiting on that, and they said, okay, we're going to go sign Russell Wilson. And yeah, they signed him to a 1-year deal, and he's throwing footballs at the Knick game and everything like that. And it was a couple weeks after free agency ended, so it was potentially a little bit off the radar. But you can't sign Russell Wilson and not start him.
I agree.
So he's going to be the starting quarterback.
Dude, I told you this a couple weeks ago. This is a horribly weak quarterback draft compared to last year. Horrible. I like Cam Ward. I know you do as well. You wish he was on the Giants for the next 15 years. You said that at the top. I think the Giants, they're just like, look, it's a weak draft. We're going to take best player available. And Russell Wilson and Jameis is the quarterback.
It's a tough spot for Joe Shane, and they sort of put themselves here when they didn't take a quarterback last year, even though they took Malik Neighbors, and obviously that hasn't really worked out. But they put themselves here because the mandate from ownership is you need to improve this quarterback position. We've seen Daniel Jones and whatever happened last year and everything like that. You're not going anywhere the way the NFL is structured today if you don't have a good quarterback. And so the most attractive asset an NFL team can have is a young quarterback on a rookie contract. Giants don't have that. And that's really, really difficult from a team building perspective. But Jameis's contract is pretty low for his market value. And I'll tell you what I'm waiting for, independent of this, is the first time Russell Wilson has a bad game. I feel like I don't know how this happened. When Jameis Winston came out, I feel like a lot of people didn't like him. And I think everyone really likes Jameis Winston now. So, his personality and everything like that, the way he talks, as soon as Russell Wilson has one bad game, people are going to be clamoring for Jameis to start. That's going to happen.
You're absolutely right. You and me have been around a long time, where I remember when Jameis started that first game at Florida State when it was like Labor Day weekend,
Played Pittsburgh.
Smoked them. He won the Heisman Trophy, stole the crab legs. They won the national title. I'm trying to give you the Cliff Notes version. There were some off-the-field issues he had. He got suspended, right?
There's a lot going on.
They made the first ever playoff, won the ACC again. Then he's the number one pick to the Bucs. He goes there for 5 years. If he retired right now, Jameis Winston, he would make more money as a broadcaster, becoming some type of new Terry Bradshaw type character. And he'd be doing like a Club Shay Shay type podcast. He'd be more popular and make more money if he retired right now than if he played football.
You know who he kind of is? This is a weird comparison, but I'm going to make it.
Who?
He's kind of become the new Ryan Fitzpatrick. He's the guy that every time he's a backup, he comes in, he'll throw for a ton of yards. And you're like, why isn't this guy starting? And then when you start him, something, great for a long period of time, something crazy happens. But he's I believe he had the vaunted 30-30 season in Tampa Bay where he threw for 30 touchdowns and 30 picks. The thing of it is, he could actually still be there had they not signed Tom Brady. Like, that is within the realm of possibility. But if you have a chance to sign Tom Brady, you sign him, and they did, and obviously the rest is history.
I remember, 2019, final game of the season, they're there in Tampa. I think he throws a pick 6 in overtime to lose, and that's when he joined the 30-30 club. Pandemic starts. I always remember this. Pandemic starts, and they're like, oh, yeah, by the way, Tom Brady to the Bucs. You're like, what? Now, in hindsight, you're like, oh, yeah, that happened. That was insane that he signed with the Buccaneers at the time. It
was, but it made a lot of sense because they had weapons. I thought he was going to the Chargers, but at that time, it came out, I guess, that he was seriously considering the Bears, but they didn't really want him, which is
you had to add that, right, to the more pain for me.
I didn't realize what I was saying until I really said it. Yes, you did.
No,
Brady it makes you feel. If it makes you feel better, I think the Bears are coming to a place where they're going to be pretty good for a while.
All right, here's what we're going to do. We'll end with this, and then you have to come on next week, and we will talk NBA playoffs. We're just going to talk draft. We'll end with this.
All right.
Okay, my Bears, if you were at number 10, what would you do? I mean, you signed 3 offensive linemen in free agency. Running back, tight end, offensive lineman, best player, what are you doing?
Boy, Tyler Warren would be a really nice fit there, wouldn't he?
Mm-hmm.
I think he would. You want to surround your franchise guy with as many, elite pass catchers as possible. I think that would make an already dangerous. I think there's been a groundswell for Ashton Jency. I don't know that he's going to be there at 10, but Tyler Warren makes a lot of sense to me. If not, you go with the best defensive. But you know who I really like in this draft is Mason Graham. I wonder if he's there at 10. How much fit that is for the Bears, but I look at the arrows pointing up there for that franchise. The only thing that you have to worry about is that division is crazy.
It is. Okay. The follow-up then is, who do the Raiders take? Because I think that's when chaos happens. Because I feel like I think they're going to call up your Giants or even maybe the Browns or they stay at 6. I think Shedeur Sanders is in play. I think anything's in play with the Raiders.
You've got a coach at an advanced age who they just spent a ton of money on Geno Smith.
Yes.
Now you had the lowest ranked rushing game in football last year. You had nothing going there. You let Josh Jacobs go. Nothing was doing. Now you showed you didn't value the running back position when you let Jacobs go. Do you really want to spend number 6 on Ashton Jency? I think when I watched them play, I've watched them play a couple times last year, I think. In particular, that game they played the Falcons on a Monday night. Their offense, it reminds me of Varsity Blues, where they only throw the ball to Charlie Tweeter the entire time. Like there's no other receivers on the team.
What a reference.
I don't know. I saw an advertisement for Varsity Blues last night on X, but Brock Bowers is like Charlie Tweeter there. Like they just keep throwing them the ball. Devontae Adams isn't walking through that door anymore. I know there's not that true amazing wide receiver, but Teteroa McMillan from Arizona, the wide receiver, I think he'd be a good fit. I like him a lot. You didn't hear a lot about him because his team was terrible this year, but he's really good.
That's a Raiders pick. Al Davis would do this.
But they have nothing going at wide receiver at all. Like if you're going to spend that much on a quarterback, you better give him someone to throw to. You also better give him someone to hand off. They're just bereft at the skill position. So I got to think it's going to be some sort of – that's the team. They drafted Brock Bowers the year after they drafted a tight end, Michael Mayer, in the second round. So it's like at tight end. So they're
good.
They need wide receiver and running back. And so, yeah, that's what I would say. I don't think Sanders is a fit there. I think I would really like to see him, though.
His name's Chris Bonanno. He is with the Viera Voice, Senior Life, Everything Brevard, also the coach here at Coco Baseball. He's joining me here on the Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Yes, take back control of your life. Call him today, 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733. And don't forget, our draft party's coming up. That's right, Thursday night at Walk On Sports Bistreaux. Chris, thank you so much for coming on, and I'll see you next week. All right?